Now, first story, some MPs are calling on the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, to establish an independent committee to investigate claims 100,000 cedis was offered to the Finance Committee by the National Lottery Authority. This, they say, is the only way Ghanaians can be sure that nothing untoward happened in the transaction. While the National Lottery Authority says the amount was meant to, quote-unquote, push MPs to pass the NLA bill, members of the committee have insisted it was deserved allowance. A member of Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Roxin Dafiamekpo, says the issue needs to be probed further.
Consider a 25-member committee together with clerks to the committee and other administrative staff. And if they are sharing 100,000, it comes to about 4,000 cedis. If I'm a member for Bolga Central or Bolga, and you are asking me to travel to Akosombo during recess when I'm supposed to be touring my constituency, you have to bear my transportation. And if I'm using a V8, a Land Cruiser, my fuel from Akosombo to Bolga and back will be in excess of 5,000. What is left for about 2,500? I'm not trying to justify, but we must interrogate the circumstances. It's not as if one single person got 100,000 and pocketed it. So sometimes we must be fair. You see, increasingly things like this dent the image of this honorable house that some of us have just joined, and we are seeking to make our mark.
So you think that an amount that's too small to the extent that we shouldn't even be bothered about expending resources?
It's not about the smallness or bigness of it. It's not about the smallness or how large it is. But it's about the circumstances, how much was given to each committee member. When you look at that, then you see that it is not as gargantuan as you may want to put it. It's not as if one person got 100,000 and pocketed it just to make laws. But that is the perspective. What was the cost of transporting the people to Akosombo? Who bore it? So I am all for the inquiry. So this will be my preliminary remarks.
Just the final bit on that. The conversation has been that it's about time that UMPs stop taking money from MMDAs that would want to push through one bill or the other, or in quotes, the lobbyist groups to do what they want, because then you don't end up serving the interests of the public. What do you say to that?
You see, we run a system where MPs don't support bills. We don't have private members' bills. Bills are always sponsored by MMDAs. I'll give you an example.
But when it gets here, you need to approve or shoot it down.
No. I don't think that at the time that they went to consider the bill, I'm sure it must have been referred to them by the Speaker of the House to the Finance Committee to consider. But I want to cite an instance. The government, for instance, of the day is anxious of introducing a bill to be enacted into law for the Office of the Special Prosecutor to be created. The bill has been drafted, but as you may be aware, the sponsors of the bill, which is the Aegis Department, they are holding seminars, consultations, they are holding stakeholder consultations on the bill, and these are done at seminars. Are they paying the experts that are speaking to the bill? Are they giving them per diem? It is a practice in the public service. If as a country we want to take a decision and abrogate this practice and cancel it out, I am all for it. But public servants, if for instance I am a teacher, at the end of 3 months I'm supposed to go on vacation, but the school calls me back to come and conduct vacation classes for the students, and I'm giving a per diem, I don't think it is out of place. So it is the same analogy that must be played out here. So I am for the inquiry to be conducted, but we must criticize the practice as a people, and not because an MP who is supposed to be on recess is recalled, and if he's giving per diem for his petrol and other ancillary expenses, we are up in arms against them.
Well, saying in Parliament, the minority says it remains convinced the Kufuor-led government will be unable to secure all the $15 billion Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia arranged on a recent trip to China. According to the MPs, the NDC's own experience in government shows the Chinese don't release such funds that easily, and that they foresee a lot of impediments, for which reason they are urging Ghanaians to manage the expectations. Member of Parliament's Trade and Industry Committee, Kweku Ricketts-Hagan, says government should also stop deceiving Ghanaians, explaining only an MOU has been signed.
What His Excellency, the Vice President, returned from China with
It's a memorandum of understanding, not money. The impression is being given that the vice president came with 15 billion, but it is an MOU. You will have to go and support that. I mean, it's an MOU more or less like a pledge or an allocation that you have to go and make the case to be able to get it. Don't forget that we were in a similar situation where, if you remember the famous CDB loan, where we were given the same, pledge. Of course, this time the money is much bigger than we did. In the end, we were not able to realize the whole money because I think we got about half of it or something, 1.5 billion, as a result of the Chinese wanted, they wanted to renegotiate. And then of course the things fell through and didn't work out, but we were able to get 1.5.
Do you envisage that may end up being the situation and that the Chinese people cannot be trusted to release all the 15 billion?
You cannot say the Chinese, it's not about the Chinese not being trusted, it's about the kind of negotiations that you do and what you agree you can give and cannot give. If you go and get excited and tell the Chinese all sorts of things, and then they sign a memorandum of understanding with you for 15 million, but you come back only to realize that what you have promised them you can't deliver, then you're going to run into difficulties. Also, you need to be able to take project, because these are for capital project. You need to be able to take project to the Chinese for approval. That is how the whole thing works, so that you can draw down on this, this facility that they have given. So it's not a done deal. But I want my brothers on the other side, or the government, to understand that this is a loan. I mean, they keep saying all sorts of things. This is a leveraging. What is leverage? Leverage is debt financing. Or if you are leveraging with something, then obviously you are taking that money to pay with something, a natural resource, gold, oil. In this case, I hear bauxite. So if they come talking about this is not a loan as you know it, this is some kind of a business joint venture, I really don't know what they're talking about. You can have a joint business venture or partnership. If you go into any bilateral agreement with any country, it is a partnership, of course. So the fact that it's a partnership does not mean that it is not a loan.
However, the majority disagrees. MP for Bantama Daniel Ochima Boajin says the NPP government has put in place necessary measures to get the full benefit from the recent trip to China.
The NDCs are people of impossibilities, a lot of them. Many of them they believe in impossibilities. For that reason, they will say it will not come. The 15 billion that Dr. Bawumia went to, the deal, joint venture and all those things. They don't believe. If they don't believe it's not going to come, then it's their own beef. Because at the end of the day, when it comes, they will say it. They went for 3 billion. And what happened? Because of certain attitude, they only got 1 billion. We went and they say, we believe in the new government and we believe in the attitude towards what Eha is trying to govern the country and everything that we are seeing so far. We're going to give you, in addition to all the joint ventures and the deals that are going through, we're going to give you the 2 billion because we had issues with the previous government. So if the former trade minister is standing here and saying this, I'm not surprised.
He for example, makes the point that it's just additional loan that we are, getting onto our economy, and not exactly this conversation around leveraging and all the other terminologies.
I heard him say that he's not against loans. And that when we're campaigning, the MPP said the money is here, why are we jumping on a plane to go and borrow? What you need to understand is that there's a clear difference when it comes to governance. They don't know how to do it because of mismanagement and incompetence and corruption. They even sack everybody from here. Foreign investors look at all these things that happen under the administration, and they say, you know what, we cannot continue this. We will not give you the money. So if you say it's a loan, he can choose to call it whatever he wants to call it, right? If it's a joint venture, you call it a loan. What is wrong with loans?
Now, businessman Alfred Agbeshi Woyome will, on July 4, know whether his attempt to block his oral examination by the Attorney General will be upheld by the Supreme Court. The court on June 8 granted a request by the AG's department to question the businessman to understand whether he owns properties, has the means to offset the debt owed, as well as tell the court how he spent the 51.2 million cedis paid him. Lawyers for the businessman on Thursday argued the examination be put on hold as they had filed for a review of the sole judge's decision allowing the oral examination. This was, however, opposed by Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, who described the move as part of strategies adopted by the businessman to frustrate the state's attempt to retrieve the money. Joseph Akable was in court for Joy News.
It was the expectation of lawyers from the Attorney General's department that today will offer them an opportunity to pose 3 questions to the businessman. The first being whether he has means of paying the debt. The second being whether he has properties that could be used to offset the debt. With the third being an explanation of how he spent the 51.2 million cedis paid him by the state. This was not to be, as his lawyers filed a motion seeking to halt the court order allowing the oral examination. A lead counsel lawyer Anku argued they had filed a review of the sole judge decision allowing the oral examination. This, he said, will mean a 3-member panel will need to hear the review, for which reason he was asking the court to hold on to its earlier decision pending a determination of that matter. This was opposed by Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, who made his first appearance in court today. He argued that this forms part of ploys devised by the businessman to delay execution of the court's 3-year-old judgment allowing the state to retrieve the money from the businessman. He argued that if the court denies the request for a stay of execution, there is no damage that will be suffered by the businessman, for which reason the court should go ahead and halt its proceedings. Justice Benin, who is the sole judge who gave the order, whose order is being reviewed currently, except July 4 to rule on the matter. Now, what this means is that on July 4, the nation will know whether this planned oral examination will take place or the court will decide to hold on to it. And this is not the first time the state is making such an effort. A former Attorney General Martin Amidu also initiated a similar process, but clearly all eyes will be on the Supreme Court on July 4. Reporting for Joy News, Joseph Akable, Accra.
Still ahead in the bulletin, visiting Unilever Group CEO announces the company's plan to create millions of jobs in the next few years, with a few thousands expected to be created right here in Ghana. We'll be back with that and more. Stay tuned. Now, Group Chief Executive of Unilever, Paul Polman, says the multinational company intends to create 5 million new jobs across the globe in the coming years, 3,000 of which should be available right here in Ghana. He, however, stopped short of saying when the jobs will come. Mr. Polman said this when he led a delegation from the company to the Flagstaff House, where they discussed Unilever's strategy with Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
One of the things that I put into the company is a commitment to create 5 million jobs, that is especially smallholders. And Africa is our focus, not surprisingly, and that's one of the reasons we're sitting here, because if you are going to have in about 30 years' time half of the world's youth population, and you have an enormous youth bulge, in your country probably 60% of your population is below the age of 25, more or less. We just came from Nigeria, and the same would be true in many other countries. We just have to be sure that as we grow responsibly. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So the good thing is we have in Ghana right now made enormous investments in our industrial base. In the last, we normally spend about 4 to 5% on capital as a company. Here we spend 30%. We build new warehouses, we build production facilities for tea, for laundry. We really are setting ourselves up for Ghana today, but also we think and invest for Ghana tomorrow. So we've invested about 30 million euros just in the last 2 or 3 years alone. That you can only justify if you have this longer term vision. Here with TOPS, we have a great opportunity. TOPS itself is about 3,000 acres, and then you have the smallholder farmers, about 1,200 acres around there, and employs currently about 3,000 jobs. I've always felt that we need to do 2 things. We need to make it more sustainable and set the standards for Africa. Here we would like to invest in mill, putting a mill in there, and ensuring that it's all source certified, sustainable palm oil. The employment would probably go in initial phases from 3,000 to about 6,000 smallholder farmers. But then we set it up properly. We invest in it, we make it sustainable, we increase the yield, we bring the latest agricultural techniques to that. And this all goes towards our commitment of creating these 5 million jobs I was talking to you about. and that's important to us. We are ready to invest about 35 million euros more into the plantation and its infrastructure around it to get it up to the best standards globally, and then hopefully even work with you to further expansion.
Dr. Bawumia, on his part, said the Akufo-Addo administration is working towards creating a low-tax economy to make Ghana the most business-friendly destination on the African continent.
Industrialization. We want to see increased manufacturing in this country. The president is very clear that we need to add value to our raw materials. We have a lot of raw materials across the country. And so we want everybody to be thinking the mindset to start moving towards what can we do to add value. Because the cocoa producer, I mean, if you see a bar of chocolate, which is selling out there for $1, how much of that $1 in that bar goes to the farmer? You know, probably 5 cents or 10 cents at the most. You know, that's it. You know, so we need to process, we need to manufacture and that sort of thing. So we're saying one district, one factory. No matter how small the factory is, you can still add value, which means more income. Once you add value, it means there's more income to the people who are producing, and more income means they can buy a lot of products that companies like Unilever also produce and so on. So we are really moving on an industrialization drive, anchor industries, petrochemicals, fertilizers, light manufacturing, and it's private sector led. We are not in a situation where we are saying government should go and set up industries. They would fail very badly generally. So we want the private sector to see the opportunity. And so we are building the macro framework, the investment climate, and providing the information to say, we've got a good opportunity here, and there are markets that exist. If you do cassava, you can find an export market for it with starch and so on, if you process it and so on. So that type of market information can inform investors to go into some of these areas and therefore set up factories and so on to manufacture some of these things, of course.
Now, unionized staff of Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company BOST have petitioned President Akufo-Addo to disregard calls on him to sack their MD Alfred Obeng-Boateng. Mr. Boateng is accused of supervising the alleged sale of contaminated fuel to 2 unlicensed firms. But the workers have vowed to resist any attempt to force the MD out on the basis of unproven allegations.
Unionized staff of the Bulk Oil Storage Company wants President Akufo-Addo to intervene in what is turning out to be an attempt to implicate the BOST board in the sale of contaminated fuel to unlicensed firms. At the press conference addressed by Secretary of BOST, Unionized staff Godfred Newton-Amo, they declared their unflinching support for the Managing Director Alfred Obeng.
The unionized staff of BOST are solidly behind the MD because we believe the agreed selling price, i.e. 1 cedi 30 pesos, is very competitive. We wish to establish that the stakeholders were consulted in the processes leading to the sale of this product, that is Ghana Revenue Authority. We believe that this misinformation is a deliberate attempt to destroy the integrity of the MD, and most importantly, stop the MD from going ahead with the ongoing probes into numerous malfeasance in the past contracts.
They also maintain that the questions about some of the fuel getting onto the market is untrue, because according to them, they only know of 471,000 liters that was actually moved to Zoop Oil, and beyond that, the rest of the product is actually with them here at BOST, following concerns that was raised. Indeed, to a very large extent, the committee that has been set up is somewhat biased because of the OMCs and BDCs who have interest within the downstream market in the oil sector, and therefore they are asking for this to be reconstituted.
The formation of the committee, which are supposed to be looking into this matter, because we believe that the members, some of the members on that committee, they have an issue of conflict of interest. Why? Because some of them are direct competitors to our operation, which they have also demonstrated with all actions.
Can you be specific? Yeah. When you say they have interest and therefore it's going to be a conflict of interest.
The BDC representative, the OMC representatives, they are in direct competition with BOST. Even though they do different things, BOST talk for the nation for strategic reserve reasons. We do trading activities, which they also engage in trading. So that aspect, which they have demonstrated over time, that they wish BOST stop that side, it is worrying that these people are also on the committee.
The secretary added that the ongoing brouhaha regarding contaminated fuel is merely a tactic to prevent the new managing director from uncovering rot under the previous BOST administration.
As we speak, a contract concerning the construction of our head office was $39 million. And as we speak, the contractors have come to the MD ever since the probe started to tell him that don't abrogate the contract. We are ready to reduce it by 19 million. Yes. So why would any contractor take such a risk if due diligence was done?
Is this not a mere face-saving mechanism in the wake of all this brouhaha asking for him to be?
It is not. We only want the Ghanaian people deserve better, and they deserve the truth, and it's the truth we are telling you. Thank you very much.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says the Akufo-Addo-led government will in the coming days implement what he calls positive discrimination to give a reasonable quota of available jobs to persons living with disability. Dr. Bawumia also announced 30% of all government contracts will go to enterprises managed or operated by PWDs. He said this at the 2017 career fair for PWDs at the British Council, where he delivered the keynote address.
We are in the process of implementing the policy where we are saying that 30% of the allocated 70%. What we are saying is that in Ghana, when we have a contract that is going to be taxpayer funded, Ghanaian and local entities must get at least 70% of that contract. But within that 70%, at least 30% of that should be sourced from entities owned by women and persons with disability, and those established under the Youth Enterprise Fund. So we are doing a positive discrimination in favor of women, the youth, and persons with disabilities for government-funded contracts that we do. And this, we think, will make a major impact in employment also of persons with disabilities as they get contracts that they execute on behalf of government. Article 27 of the UN Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities focuses on decent employment for people with disabilities, recognizing the right to work in a labor market that is open, inclusive, and accessible. It requires states to promote the realization of that right through prohibition of discrimination, protection of just and favorable work conditions, exercise of trade union rights, availability of vocational training, promotion of self-employment, ensuring the provision of reasonable accommodation, and promotion of work experience in open employment. Mr. Chairman, government does not wish for the Disability Act of 2006 at 715 to just sit there and gather dust on our shelves. Government wants to see it work in our daily lives to ensure an inclusive society in which people living with disabilities, who are the world's biggest minority.
You're watching Joy News Prime. Still ahead in the bulletin, Prempeh College wins 2017 National Science and Maths Quiz. There's however been some anticlimax to the highly publicized event with the theft of the quiz mistress's handbag, which we're still looking for. We'll be back with this. Stay tuned.
Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. The National Food and Buffer Stock Company says it has initiated moves to rehabilitate some abandoned cocoa warehouses by September this year to absorb proceeds from the Planting for Food and Jobs agenda. In an interview with Joy Business, acting CEO for the NAFCO, Abdul Wahab Hanan, said these warehouses are currently being assessed.
The National Food and Buffer Stock Company, NAFCO, is leading the assessment of some abandoned warehouses across the country in preparation for agricultural proceeds emerging from the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative. Acting Chief Executive of NAFCO, Abdul Wahab Hanan, said they are expectant of a bumper harvest.
Our 2015 stock balance, we have 15,000 metric tons of maize and 5,000 metric tons of rice. But these quantities were released into the system in 2016. So as we speak now, we have zero stock balance, but plans are far advanced to mop up excesses from farmers from the harvest of the Planting for Food and Jobs. We are looking at about 150,000 metric tons of white maize, then 50,000 metric tons of yellow maize, 300,000 metric tons of local produced rice, and looking at 20,000 metric tons of soya bean.
Plans to have the warehouses refurbished are said to be far advanced, and the CEO of NAFCO says they are hopeful some of the warehouses will be ready by September this year.
We are going around assessing the abandoned cocoa sheds, which are over 100,000 metric tons capacity. Is going to hand over these warehouses to National Food Buffer Stock after we have renovated it to good standard for storage, and to add it to the existing ones that we have, which is about 33,000 metric tons. And I think it will take us far. But with what we are doing, we are trying to identify, out of what we are going around assessing, would identify the ones we can immediately work on to meet this harvesting season. So we are looking at, by the end of September, we should be able to put the strategic ones in place for usage.
Additionally, the government intends to construct 1,000 capacity warehouses in each of the 216 districts as efforts are being made to tackle food security.
Delex Finance and Leasing Company has announced a partnership with Shinkafa Buni Rice Farmers Association aimed at providing credit to over 10,000 rice farmers in the northern region. The partnership is expected to boost rice production in the country as well as make the staple more competitive on the world stage. Here's more in this report.
Through this partnership, it's expected to aid provision of farming inputs such as fertilizer and improved seeds, to ensure better yields during the harvest season. Chief Executive Officer of Delex, Ken Thompson, told Joy Business his company's resolve to invest heavily in the agric sector is geared towards making the agric sector one of the leading contributors to GDP.
Agriculture is the way to go, and eventually the smart money will follow, a lot of money will follow. So we decided to work with, so when we decided to go to agriculture, we had to look at the different risks, and it became obvious that it was important to work with farmer groups. And one of the most efficient we found after we did over a year of session was Shinkafa Buni. They were organized as a farmer group. They were provided with extension services, including mechanization, fertilizer, seeds. They also, very importantly, had an off-taker. So, and they had a track record. So it was obvious that considering all the people that were met, considering all the crops, it was a good way, it was a good organization to start with. That's what we did with Shinkafa Buni.
On his part, Executive Director of Shinkara Buni Rice Farmers Association, Samuel Sapon, said that the association will be using the funds to organize financial literacy workshops for rice farmers in the northern belts of the country.
Farmers are experienced farmers. They've been farming, some of them before I was born. What they lack is the technology and marine science with farming to give the yield. As I said, we have discovered why they are not getting the yield, and we have been able to put those things in place. They were doing just plowing. Now we brought mechanisms to retrowate and level their soils for them to get the yield. So we are certain, given our expertise and experience, that these farmers are going to be able to make the investment is going to be productive, and we're going to pay back the money.
The Lex Rise Farmer Credit Program also aims to support farmers through mobile money transactions with real-time access to their account balances.
Now to the Ashanti region, where insurance operators are being urged to improve processing of claims to improve insurance penetration in the country. Several misconceptions have accounted for low insurance penetration. The advice was given by the Chief Executive Officer of Saham Life Insurance Group, Gifty Alabi, at the inauguration of a renovated recreational facility for the Kumasi Technical University in Kumasi.
The African Insurance Organization report revealed Ghana has one of the lowest regional insurance penetration rates of 1.5%. Chief Executive Officer of Saham Life Insurance Company, Gifty Alabi Fiagbe, tells Loud Business there is potential to reverse the trend.
The insurers have to improve on their claims handling and processing, because claims benefits are the only point in time that the client gets to experience what insurance is about and appreciate it. So improving on it and making the client's expectation delightful and meeting the actual need will increase confidence. Increase in confidence will also increase the patronage and thereby penetration. Then again, we talked about, I'm thinking that we should also develop more societal-oriented products. We should not follow what everybody is doing. Let's try to research the market, find out what do clients want. Perhaps they are not patronizing insurance because what is available does not meet their needs.
There are also concerns about the relationship between insurance awareness and penetration. Saham Life Chief Operations Officer Frederick Adotesaka says stakeholders must intensify education.
There's a lot of media education now, and like the SRC President said, we are going to embark aggressively on educating the students on short courses and seminars and all that. The insurance college is also very vibrant now, where students can register and undertake short courses in insurance and all that. So I think that area has also been taken care of. So it's all about education, education, education. I think we are looking at modeling what the bigger countries have done, but they began from somewhere. We want to grow or increase the insurance penetration, which is currently around 1.5 between 1.5 to 2%. You know, we are hoping that we can push it higher than 2%. You know, that's it.
Mr. Adotesaka was speaking at the inauguration of a renovated TV room for Kumasi Technical University at a cost of 50,000 Ghana cedis. Professor Esiama Yaboa is acting Vice Chancellor.
As I've already indicated, SAM has proven to be trustworthy, and for that matter, we also want to assure them that so long as they continue to deliver, the institution will also continue to do business with them, so that other institutions or other companies who fail to deliver may learn from the Saham experience.
For Joy Business, Prince Apia reporting.
The Director of Strategic Partnerships of Fidelity Bank, Dr. William Durban, has noted the country is overbanked despite efforts to enhance financial inclusion. Ghana's banks population makes up only 30% of the population, and the number of banks in the country are said to be far higher than the needed, considering the number of people who require banking services. Speaking to Joy Business at the 16th Ghana Banking Awards Conference, Dr. William Durban urged banks to utilize the opportunities provided by technology to expand their markets.
Although government is making efforts to bridge the 70% unbanked population gap in the banking sector, banks are still confronted by several challenges. Speaking to Joy Business at the 16th Ghana Banking Awards Conference, the Director of Strategic Partnerships at Fidelity Bank, Dr. William Durban, asserted that although Ghana's banked population makes up only 30% of the population, the number of banks in the country are said to be far higher than needed.
At the moment, there are about 34, 35 banks, or probably more, the universal banks, serving quite a small population of the market, and that's why we say they are unbanked. If each of the banks went for real scale, then there would not be enough out there. But the bigger issue are the maybe 60-70% odd people who do not have access to bank accounts, and I think as technology comes in, it will open the door for more banks to look out, so that we don't look at the 30-35% of the people who look like you and I who can get bank accounts, but we can actually open up. In a way, that's what the telcos have been able to do, So I think the opportunity is there. So when we say that we are overbanked, it's overbanked in relation to the population of banked people at the moment. The banks, unfortunately, are now getting onto these digital rails, that the telcos have already taken. So to me, that's where the banks are going. It's not that the banks aren't getting there. I think most banks want to get in there, but it's also a different kind of language, a different thing, So you need the capacity. You need people who understand technology. You need people who understand these new digital rails so that we can develop products for that market.
Speaking on the use of technology in financial transactions, Mobile Financial Service Manager at Vodafone Ghana, Carl Ashi, said accessibility to mobile phones for all Ghanaians will increase the chances of financial inclusion for all.
So the good thing is that they have the mobile phones, and we've already looked at the statistics that show that there are about 39 million mobile phone users. About 92% of Ghanaian adults have access to mobile phones. The mobile phone itself can be equated to an ATM machine today, because if I send you money, you can go to an agent that is very close by, and you can actually access the funds. And so it's like a tool that we can actually use to leapfrog, what other countries have actually painstakingly gone through. We have an opportunity to leapfrog using the mobile technology and using technology. So I think there's a lot of hope. I think we need to work together. We need the right policies, we need the right noises from the right quarters, government, everybody, to make sure we can drive that agenda of driving financial inclusion. We think it would go a long way to actually help this nation.
And that's all by way of business tonight on the news. Many thanks for your company. For more business news, don't hesitate to log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Have a good evening.
Head of Public Relations at the Ghana Standards Authority, Kofi Amponsah-Bediako, has hinted a committee has been set up to investigate some malfeasance there, and it will commence work next week. It says findings of the committee will help the authority to redeem its image after allegations of corruption were leveled against its former boss, Dr. George Crenshaw, over a month ago. Dr. George Crenshaw was alleged to have received a $1.2 million kickback on a contract. Kofi Amponsah-Bediako was addressing journalists at a Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority workshop in Tema. He notes the investigation is crucial.
And investigate certain matters involving especially the former executive director. And we think it's good so that we will all be kept clean. We will not be lumped together as a bundle of corrupt people operating there. No, some of them are very hardworking. And if you remember when the issue came up, I didn't defend it. People were saying, hey, you PR man, you have to defend. No, PR is not to defend rods. It is there to explain issues as they are, you see, honestly. So I remember I made a comment that it is regrettable, it is very embarrassing, it hasn't happened before, and we think that investigation is necessary. I remember making those strong points, and I'm happy government has taken it up. And maybe next week they will start. This week the team may come, next week they will start their work so that we'll find out the truth. Once the truth is known, we will then use it as a basis to clear our name.
According to Kofi Amponsah-Bediako, the Ghana Standards Authority will not shield any individual found culpable in alleged kickback scandal.
I believe that you still see GSA as a very credible organization. That one, there is no doubt about that. GSA is still a very credible organization. We need to deal with the dark spots of doubts that have been created in recent times. It hasn't happened before, so that our reputation will remain intact. So we are on it. We will solve the problem. We will solve it. I told my people not to be worried. We will resolve that problem very soon. We'll invite some of you, and you'll see how things are when you come to our laboratories and other places.
The Upper West Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Alhaji Abubakar Abdul Rahman Short, has served notice to the opposition NDC. The NPP is gunning to increase its seat haul in the region at the next election. According to him, the party is seeking to make the region one of its strongholds, considering it was where the Dankwa Buzia Dombo tradition was nurtured. Addressing delegates of the party in the Wa Central constituency, Alhaji Abubakar assured them the NPP will increase its seats in the region to 8 from the current 5 out of 11.
As enshrined in the constitution of the New Patriotic Party, they are required to hold annual constituency delegates conference to take stock of activities of the party for the previous year and to plan ahead for the succeeding year. Delegates of the party in the West Central constituency, comprising polling station, constituency and regional executives, and some stalwarts of the party, took part in the West Central constituency delegates conference. Speaker after speaker spoke about the need for supporters of the party to close their ranks and unite for President Nana Akufo-Addo to succeed in his mission of implementing his pro-poor policies to better the lives of Ghanaians. Upper West Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Alhaji Abubakar Abdul Rahman Short, noted that the Upper West region is the cradle of the founding fathers of the Dankwa Buzia Dombo tradition, and that they will do everything to restore their heritage. The Upper West region has 11 parliamentary seats, which the NPP ceded all to the NDC in the 2012 polls, except the Jepa parliamentary seat. The party, however, made significant inroads in the 2016 polls and moved from 0 seats to 5 seats. However, Alhaji Abubakar Abdul Rahman Short insisted that the 5 seats are still not enough.
We are very aware that the Upper West is the cradle of the UP party. And we, the present leadership, are determined, whatever it will take, we'll get it for our heritage and we'll bring it back to this region. No matter what it takes. We have already cleared the first hurdle, but we are not satisfied with the 5 seats. We think that by the 2020 elections, if we don't clear all 11, we will be left with about 2 or 3. By the next 2024, all others will be added onto rest, and UP will be back to its original owners.
Upper West Regional Secretary of the NPP, Hafiz Bin Sali, threw more light on the constituency delegates conference.
We are taking stock of what accounted for our successes. Where we failed, we are taking stock of what prompted the failures. And we are also looking at the activities of the government. Though we are in office for only 6 months, we are taking stock of the activities. We are also looking at the appointments that we have had to appeal to His Excellency to appoint more other people into government. He has done a yeoman's job by appointing a lot of senior members of our party into ministerial and other positions in government, which we are very much appreciative. But we think that there is still more to be done. There are still ambassadorial positions. We think that there are people who are qualified to be ambassadors. We also think that there are boards and other state-owned organizations that he can appoint people in as chief executives, deputy chief executives, managers, and so on.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Now, Prempeh College has earned the bragging rights as winners of the 2017 National Science and Maths Quiz. This will bring the tally of trophies for the Ashanti Region School to 4, second only to rivals Presbyterian Boys Secondary School Legon, who have won it for 5 times actually. It was a close shave for Prempeh College, who won with just 2 points ahead of St. Thomas Aquinas in the nerve-wracking riddle session. Join us, Maxwell Agbagba has more.
They came in their numbers, all with one common goal: to win the covetous prize of the National Science and Maths Quiz. It was meant to be a somber battle of Ghana's brightest minds, but turned into a showdown of chance, especially for old students of the final 3 participating schools. Tensions began to rise. The songs faded away into silence as old boys and current students of participating schools sat on tenterhooks watching contestants trying to answer questions posed by quiz mistress Dr. Elsie Kaufman. Then came the riddle that could have catapulted St. Thomas Aquinas to victory.
My system may be classified as a sol, emulsoid, or gel, depending on the level of attraction between the dispersed and continuous phases. Smoke, pose, right?
A colloid.
Yes. You will find me with addition and multiplication. Yes, Christopher.
Madam, it's commutative property.
No.
But bad luck was on the side of Prempeh College. Prempeh College were finally crowned winners of the much talked about National Maths and Science Quiz.
Okay, we have this mentality that the quiz should be taking contest after contest. And so, by the grace of God and His uncommon favor, we saw ourselves winning contest after contest. This is how far the Lord has brought us. So, as for the vision, we had it. Yeah. Because you need vision to accomplish, of course.
Now, tell me about that nerve-wracking moment when at this other college, the final riddle, they pressed the bell and they were ready to answer the question. St. Thomas Aquinas, I must say, they were ready to answer that question. What was it like for you?
Well, it wasn't all that easy, but we kept our composure, knowing that God is in control.
Old student Harry Nanabuachi, who is the deputy director of the National Service Scheme, says he chose Prempeh College because they won the 1994 edition of the quiz.
The reason why I went to Prempeh College was because of the quiz. Because the maiden edition, Prempeh College won. I was in Achimota Primary School then. I was even thinking of going to Achimota SHS then. But then when Prempeh won, and Prempeh won against Achimota then I said, you know what, I'm going to Prempeh College. So it was one of the main reasons why I went to Prempeh College. And today, I've seen Prempeh lift 4 trophies.
The prestigious National Science and Maths Quiz has ended, and Prempeh College has earned the bragging rights. However, one of the lowest moments for the hitherto interesting contest was when someone stole the handbag of the quiz mistress for the competition. Dr. Elsie Kaufman had left her table to present the trophy to the winning team. The bag contained her ID cards, keys, and other valuables. Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Agbagba.
All right, so it turned out that the bag that went missing has been the anticlimax of this whole event. But here on Facebook, I've put a photo of the bag on my Facebook page. So over there, this is what the bag looks like. If you have found it or if you have it in your possession, Now, the quiz mistress is concerned more about the ID cards and other items that are in the bag. It turns out there's some cash in there. It's unlikely the cash will be returned. She's more concerned about the keys and the IDs that are in the bag. So if you have any information, you can go to my Facebook page and post it, and we would we'll get that information to her. Now, back in Kumasi, the hopes of some students of Prempeh College were dashed as plans to celebrate their victory with students of Yasantua School were foiled. Kwesi Debra spoke with some of the students.
When they didn't allow us to enter inside, it was so shocking. Like,
what did you intend doing there?
Celebration, Jawa Alliance, so we definitely have to go to them. We're going to enjoy ourselves and come back. Yeah, Santua girls. Yes, Jawa Alliance, so we definitely have to go there. We have once, we have to get celebrate with them. And that's the main reason why we went there.
But they didn't allow you.
They didn't allow us to go there because we can't go to KWG. It's Santua we have to go to. We went and the admissions were like, we don't know. They didn't allow us to enter inside. It was so embarrassing.
So what are you going to do this weekend?
Oh, we're waiting for them to bring the cup, then we'll jubilate more. Child.
Yeah, we are grateful to God for this victory. Yeah, we are grateful to God for this victory. Yeah, and I heard you went to Yasantua, right? Yeah, we went to Yasantua. But they didn't allow you. Yeah, they didn't allow us. It was very sad. It was very sad. We are very sad.
To all of us, it's been very great. And we just want to thank God for this big victory He has given us.
All right, so to these students we just spoke with, I'm not too sure how they expect their parents to take it, knowing that they left their school to go to a girls' school to go celebrate. And they're saying that they were disappointed they were not allowed in there. But well, here in the Joy Newsroom, work came to a halt at the final moments of the grand finale of the National Science and Maths Quiz. The contest was simply between the news editor, Evans Mensah, and his colleague, Kweku Osu Pepra, and Old Tom, and Amanfo. Here's a compilation of what happened in the newsroom.
The last round. That's the last round of the whole contest.
Even if you lose the contest, you have this moment. No, even if you answer it wrongly, you should. Moses, I can't ask question. Someone is the crowd.
When they're correct. What did you say? What you say? Oh, best I'm in Nabium.
I'm a soccer player.
Oh, they
finished the whole competition.
Yeah. It's why they're winning.
Obviously. Prempeh College has won.
Relax.
1996, you're winning.
What's the premature ejaculation? Tilipa. Obieni Abria. We're winning your premature ejaculation. We're winning why?
Evans, can you go to this?
Are you sure you can still do top story today?
What do you want to get fast?
Oh, Evans.
You should have done the fast yesterday. Wait, this out.
Oh, relax.
Let's take it out. If you win, it'll pay me. If we will lose, if you ring right now, we will. Yeah, we will. 151. Baba, 51, 53. 51, 53. Because you get two riddles. We were at 45. We got two riddles. It's a 6.
Riddle. Please, what are they waiting for? Minimum. Who do you want to?
Prempeh College. Where else? No, if we lose this one, they win. That'll be the last one, right? Yeah. But you know where we win. Jesus Christ.
Attention.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, now.
Hey,
relax.
Oh, yeah, you're winning. What the fuck are you?
All right, so at the end of the day, it was Kuku Super Press Prempeh College that won the